Well, welcome to today's webinar. It's good to have each of you. We're excited to go over integrating with Printful, Foxy, Webflow, and Byteline. My name is Josh Barlamucci. I'm with Foxy, and I'm joined by Dan and DP at the Byteline team. So as you may or may not know, Printful recently announced the discontinuation of their Webflow integration. And so that's obviously left some people kind of in a stuck position for themselves or for their clients. And so we've been hard at work with the Byteline team to come up with an alternate solution to fix that problem. And so you can keep selling inside of Webflow. Now, today we're going to go over the different parts of this integration. We're not going to dive super deep into all the parts, but we've got a Q&A session at the end. So on your screen there's a Q&A tab. Click on that. Feel free to ask your questions during the webinar, and then we'll cover those at the end. I'm going to dive into the Webflow and Foxy side of things, and then I'll pass it on to DP for the Byteline side of things. So I'll start with what is Foxy. So if you don't know, Foxy is a hosted cart and checkout solution that allows you to sell any type of product inside of Webflow. And so we work directly with Webflow CMS, and you can sell subscriptions, one-offs, physical, digital, it doesn't matter. In addition, we handle the gateway integrations with 100+ options, taxes, shipping, coupons, discounts, custom portals, gift cards, and more. So this specific integration consists of 4 pieces. So you're going to have Foxy, which handles the cart and checkout and add to cart pieces. Then you're going to have Webflow CMS, which is where product data, Printful data specifically, is managed. Then you're going to have Byteline, which syncs the data between Printful and Webflow CMS, and then syncs Foxy orders with Printful for fulfillment. And then finally, you obviously need Printful to handle the rest of that. So we'll dive in to just the basic setup of this in Webflow. And again, we've got tutorials, resources, and our team is able to help if you have any questions. So this is actually the final product of what we'll get once we set up these pieces. So again, everything is managed in Webflow CMS. The data is populated automatically from Printful via Byteline, and then orders are automatically sent from Foxy to Printful for fulfillment via Byteline as well. So everything you see here is CMS driven. So if I choose a size, choose a color, everything will update in real time. And again, this is using Printful product data, and then I can add that to cart and the product gets added. So that's the end goal, this piece here. And of course, you can design it however you want because these are elements inside of Webflow. Let's take a look at the CMS setup. So in Webflow, we're going to have 2 CMS collections. So the first collection is your actual products, and this is not including variants. So we have a separate collection for variants. So at the product level, this is where you have like awesome shirt, and then maybe like a primary image, the default price, description, and any other fields or data that you need to build out your marketing pages for that product. And then second, we have the variants collection. And this is where we house the actual variant combination. So if the product is shirt, then we would have shirt navy 2XL, shirt navy XL, and so forth. I'll dive into both these more deeply here in just a second, but I do want to clarify that all this, once you set up your fields, all this is auto-populated via Byteline from Printful. So anytime you make a change in Printful, those will automatically update here in Webflow CMS. So let's take a look at the products collection structure. And I do want to make clear, you can name these collections and fields whatever you want. Foxy and Byteline have no preference on this. So it's whatever your use case is. So we've got just a basic setup here with the name, the slug, the base price, more the display or marketing price of the product, the base SKU, and then a variant multi-reference field. So this is talking to the variant CMS collection, so we know which variants to use. Next, let's look at our variants collection. And so this is broken down into, again, just basic fields that build out this specific variant combination. So you have your name, your slug, an image for this specific one. So this is a navy color, the SKU for this specific combination, the price for this combination, weight, inventory. Inventory is not required. It's Printful, so it's print on demand, so that's not really needed for this. But if you ever had a use case, it is there. And then we have a field for each variant group that needs to be represented. So for Printful, generally that's going to be size and color. So here we have a color field, and for this specific one we put navy, and then we have a size field and we put 2XL. Now again, I want to make clear this is all the data for this specific combination. So shirt, navy, 2XL. Now our integration does support dynamic colors, so you can dynamically style the radio option. So that can be like the background, text color. You could do an icon, images, border color. It's all up to you. And we'll go over that more in a second. But here in CMS, you can have multiple color fields that then you can use to dynamically style those radio options. Okay, so let's take a look now. We've got the CMS data set up. And again, this is all populated with Printful product data via Byteline. But now let's go into our actual setup of the product page. So when I'm in my product detail page, I'm going to output pretty much any Webflow elements that I want to build out that page. Now, this is all completely up to you. This is obviously a very basic example, but it can be whatever you want and styled however you want. Now, we're using Webflow's form builder to build our add to cart form. And inside of this, we've got a few different elements that tell Foxy where the variant groups and variant fields need to be. So for color, we've got a div here that contains the color label, which is not required, but it can be there. And then a default radio button option with the default styling. And I won't go deep into this, but everything connects via data attributes. So here we've got Foxy variant group color. And then for this group here, we have Foxy variant group size. Now you'll notice that I'm using a combination of radio options and select fields, and you can use both or just one, or a mix of them. It doesn't matter to us. And you can do multiple levels of variant groups as well. So there could be 3 or 4, and they all talk to each other. The only limitation is really what Webflow CMS plan you're on, how many fields it allows, and how many records you can do for that account. Now, you can add other fields here as well, like a quantity field. There could be another field like a text area or a custom text or another option. Any field that has a value when added to cart will pass through the cart session. So you're not limited to just what you see here. So one question we do get often is, well, when this form is submitted, is it going through Webflow, and does that account against my form submissions in Webflow? And the answer is no. So this is actually posting to Foxy, not Webflow. So it does not account against your form submissions. Okay, so we've got our form built out now. And again, all this is covered in the tutorial. And we've got different placeholders for dynamic pieces. So here's the image, the price, and if you were to do an inventory, you could do an inventory display as well. Now, on this page, we have a hidden collection list. And this collection list is connected to that multi-reference field we went over a moment ago in CMS. And so this is the variance multi-reference field. Again, call it whatever you want. And inside of here, there'll be an embed with different data attributes that you're going to pass. And remember, this is a collection list connected to your variance collection. So you have access to all the fields from that collection. So you're going to specify pretty much those different fields that we already have in CMS. You're going to specify those attributes here. So you've got the price, the name, the image, or excuse me, the price, the image, the SKU, and if you're doing inventory there. And then you're going to have a data attribute for each variant group. So in our case, we have color and we have size, and we're just specifying which field from the variance collection is the value for this specific color option and this specific size combination. And then, as I mentioned, you can dynamically style those radio group buttons, so radio buttons. And so you can pass any CSS property and just specify, start it with the actual variant group name, and then the CSS property, and then specify which field is the color, or it could be static data as well. So this is saying, hey, grab that background color from CMS, and that's what we're going to set the radio background as. Now, the good news is that our Printful integration via Byteline does pass colors. So if you're doing color options, those color codes will pass. And DP will cover this, but when you're seeking, matching up those fields, you can specify which field do we specify or do we sync to the color field in CMS. So makes it really nice. So everything just kind of works once it's all connected. So the final piece is going to be the configuration of the snippet. So in your product detail page, in the closing body section, you're going to have a snippet of code. And this just pulls in the needed resources for the Foxy variant functionality and some different parameters or settings that you can configure. So you have sort by, which is what do we want to sort by? Well, you could sort by name, price, things like that. But by default, if you leave sort by and sort order blank, we're going to go ahead and use the order that they are imported or that they are in CMS. So when you add those update that multi-reference field for variants, whatever order those are added, that's the order and the ascending or descending order that we do. And this automatically works with Printful. So when you sync that via Byteline, it'll come in the exact order it needs to, so you don't have to mess with that unless you just want to. In addition, you can do a price display option. So as shown earlier, let me switch to mine here. So on page load, we have a low to high range, and that's what we'll show by default. But you can go in and say, just show the lowest price on page load or show the highest price. And in addition, you can pass one of those as your base price too, when maybe you're having like a shop grid or something like that. And that'll be done via the Byteline connection. And then you can set your locale and currency settings here. And there's a few other things too, like inventory control, again, not needed for this, but you can also, customize some labels and whatnot. So pretty much out of the box, you may just need to, work on the locale and currency settings depending on where you're at, but everything else should just work. But you're more than welcome to modify these settings as needed. So once all that's done, again, you're going to get an output like this. So all the data is coming from Printful via Byteline to Webflow CMS, and it comes in the way it should once you've made that Byteline connection. And then on page load, all the scripts run. And of course, now we support, Webflow just announced supporting live code preview inside the designer, which is amazing. So now you don't have to necessarily publish. You can see it happening inside of the designer and make quick changes as needed. So that covers this setup here. I'm going to pass it on to DP now to cover the Byteline side.
Thank you, Josh. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I am DP, a founder of Byteline, and I lead its technology. Byteline is a data syncing platform that you can use to keep your app's data in sync. It keeps running in the background, provides you real-time updates, and you can configure one-way and two-way syncs. Byteline is specifically built for data syncing, so you can configure and get to a live sync within a few minutes, so you don't have to deal with the complicated automation workflows. So now for the supported apps, in today's demo, I'll show Webflow, Foxy.io, and Printful. But in addition to that, we also support Google Sheets, Notion, Airtable, and many more. And just in case the app that you need is not yet supported, please get in touch with us. We are adding new apps all the time. So now let's jump to the demo. So in today's demo, I'll configure two syncs. So the first one is to sync Printful catalog with Webflow CMS. And the second sync will be to process the orders from Foxy.io to Printful. So let's get started. So this is our main site. So you click on login to get to our console. And then click on create sync. So now before we start building the sync, so let me show you my setup. So here is my Printful store. I have 3 products and with each with multiple variants. So as you can see, I have 15 variants here. And on Webflow, this is my sample Webflow CMS site. So let's focus on these two collections, product variants and products. Josh has already covered the structure of these collections in detail, so I'm not going to go into them. So let's just start building the sync. First one we'll do between Printful products and Webflow CMS collection. And this is my test site. So now we have two collections, product and product variants. So now both of these collections are handled in the same sync. So that way we can also determine the order of operations between the two collections. So that we can create or delete the items in the right order. Um, so after the table sync, let's continue. So now, as this is a sync between with the catalog, so we need to go with existing data and future changes so that all your existing products also get synced to Webflow CMS. Now this next screen is for the field mapping. So here we are mapping all the fields between Printful and Webflow. So on the left side here, it shows all the Printful fields, and on the right we have Webflow CMS collection. So we automatically match the fields based on their name, and then but you can review these and just make sure they are correctly matched. So the product fields looks good. So now on the product variants, so let's review this. So this specifically, this field needs to map to the color code of Printful because this is defined as a color type in Webflow CMS. So let's continue. This one is for syncing the existing data. So in this case, we will go from Printful to Webflow CMS. So let's continue. At this point, we are generating the preview of data so that we can inform you how many records it will create and update uh, when you start the sync. And by the way, even though I showed here that I don't have any products here, but you don't need to start with zero products. Even if you have existing products, so our historical sync will compare the records and only update or create the records that are needed. So preview is complete. So as it's showing here, so it will create 3 products and 15 variants. So this matches what I have in my Printful store. So let's start the sync. So at this point, it will get the data from Printful and then push it to Webflow CMS. Let's wait for some time. After the historical sync is complete, it's gonna make the sync live. And once the sync is live, it will keep running in the background, and any changes you do on the Printful side will sync to Webflow CMS. Now the historical sync is complete. So let's go to Webflow CMS and review the data. Okay, so as you can see here, we have 3 products and 15 variants. So let's review a product first. So here is the name, slug of the product. We also bring the description from Printful, and you can change it to basically if you need to fine tune the description. Color options are here, size options are here, and these are shown on the product details page, as Josh indicated earlier, to let the users know what all options are there for the product. Here is the image, and we also provide a multi-reference to the product variant in the product CMS record. And here is the min and max variant price that are also shown on the product detail page. So now on the product variants, so let's pick one of the variants to review. Name and slug. So the price is there, SKU. So there is no quantity because it's print on demand. So there is essentially unlimited quantity. Size, color, and the image is there. So the data looks good. And now our sync is live. And you can also look at the sync history and see what all data was sent. And now as you make changes on Printful, the data will keep on syncing, and it will show in this history whatever records were changed or created. So that was it for the for creating the product catalog sync. So now let's move to our second sync, which is to sync orders from Foxy cart to Printful orders. So for this one, we're gonna pick Foxy as the app and transaction as the data type. And this will go to Printful orders. In this case, we just have one table. And by the way, I have not shown this in the earlier sync, but you can go to data settings and you can configure filters here. So if you want to only specifically sync certain records. And then we also provide record tracking time frame, which is applicable only for order-based apps. So you can indicate for how long you want to manage the orders. So any orders created before 3 months will not be handled by the sync. Okay, so let's continue. So in this case, because we are processing orders, so we'll go with future changes only. Okay, here is our field mapping. So I'm going to leave it with the default mapping, but you can review and see like if you want to bring in some additional field. So let's start the sync. So now in this case, there is no historical sync because we did not pick that option. So this will just make the sync live and it will keep on running. And as you get more orders through Foxy card, so those orders will be sent to Printful. Okay, so the sync is now live. And there are no transactions, no records to see yet because there is no order went through yet. So that's it for the demo. We offer free 2 weeks trial, so please take advantage of that and try out your sync. Now back to Josh. Thank you.
Thanks, DP. And I just want to just say what a wonderful team the Byteline team is to work with. I've used many automation tools and syncing tools over the years, and their platform is just really great to work with. Really a helpful support team as well. So definitely check them out. Take advantage of that 2-week trial. We're here to help. They're here to help. We've also got resources. We've got a clonable. We've got preview links. We've got publish links. So you can get started even quicker if you want. And of course, like I said, we're here to help if you run into any issues or have questions.